Today on Virginia Legends podcast, I have Ganon Baker, the famous ambidextrous player from the Tidewater area. Gannon had a great career at Hampton, won a state championship, went on to Duquesne and then UNC Wilmington, coached at the college level for a while, but really has made a name for himself in the training business, and that's really gone through a lot of evolution since he's gotten into it. When I interviewed Grant Hill mentioned Gannon Baker. I'm like, wow, this guy's really blown up. But anyway, Gannon, great to see you again. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for having me, man. I don't know if I'm famous. I know I love the game and I work hard at it, but it's an honor.
Oh, well, thanks for saying that. Well, Gannon, how much of who you are as a person and a basketball player is because you're from the 757, the peninsula? Did that really make who you are today?
Yeah, I think so. I think we learn a lot. Research says that, that our brains develop at an early age. A lot of our grit and or lack thereof, starts early. And I grew up in Hampton, grew up in a boys club, King Street, YMCA's, junior highs, rubbing shoulders with Bubba Chuck, Allen Iverson, and I was the only white dude around in the gyms, man. You walk in and you could see me right away, only salt and a pepper shaker, so to speak. And being different, having to earn respect because through diversity really changed who I was. Having a dad that played at Hampton High, mom was a teacher at Armstrong Elementary in Hampton. Dad was a principal all over Hampton, playing for the Hall of Famer Boo Williams. You know, uh, Bill Toze was the assistant. All my teammates, Coach Brower, David Blizzard, Art Jones, like David Six, they all impact me still today. I take their lessons and inspiration now all over the world. So great question. Way to start this podcast. There's nothing like the 757. Love it.
And Gannon, do you consider the peninsula different than like the 757, which includes Norfolk and Virginia Beach? Is the peninsula itself a little different than the rest of the 757?
Yeah, I think, there's differences between Hampton, Newport News, and let's say, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach. By no way do I want to offend anybody, right?
I'm
This
sure
this
you
is
will.
just this is just my opinion. I just think athletes, even now, because I go back and train in those areas, and I started my training basketball player development business in Hampton and Newport. I just think that the athletes, definitely when I grew up, were a lot tougher in Hampton and Newport News. Their pain tolerance was higher. They had a little rougher backgrounds, which helped them become warriors in sport and a carrot and a why to get out where, being around Chesapeake, you know, Virginia Beach, Coast and Williamsburg, the athletes were a little more privileged, but Norfolk, Newport News, Hampton, like they have some tough situations, man. And I think that's fueled the football and basketball programs in that area. Thus, you see many great football, basketball athletes, come from those three cities.
No question. Well, Gannon, you mentioned being growing up being one of the only white kids in the gym. Did you like being the underdog? Like, oh, that white boy just schooled you. Did you enjoy some of the fact that you were the white guy
Yeah,
and kind of the underdog, or was it
yeah.
contentious?
No, not at first. I mean, underdogs got to take some whippings. Some underdogs always get beat at first. And when I went to walk to the gym, they clowned me, they bullied me, they
Hmm,
made fun of me, they didn't understand me,
hmm.
and what you don't understand, you criticize, and so I left in tears. I remember at times in the local neighborhood, Shell Road, Kickintan Road, um, my bike got stolen. They would take my ball, my bag with my shoes in it got stolen. I would get into some fights not to the point where they would break my nose or break my leg, but some bloody noses, some scars, some scrapes, some choice words, and I tried to shelter towards swimming and soccer. And a lot of my friends call it the white boy sports. I mean, they weren't racist, but it is what it is. And I said, no, I'm gonna stick with basketball. And um, through the trials, tribulations, and tests, absolutely, I enjoy it now because now I got a scar I can talk about. I have a story I can tell. I can show people that you can be great and achieve goals through adversity and diversity, and it makes my teaching now all over the world, my leadership talks, my mentorship with players, coaches, high level performers, more authentic, Julian, because you can't give away what you don't have. And if I didn't go through that adversity of being an underdog, then my message wouldn't be as powerful or have so much weight. Now, I mean, I remember Boo and Jose telling me sophomore year in high school, you won't make Division One. You're too slow, too short. You have no athleticism, so you're gonna look at Division 3 schools. I didn't start on my high school team until the middle of my junior year. Like literally, it was I think right before the Christmas tournaments, December 18th or 19th. My first game that I played a lot and started was against Norview. So, man, that's what fuels me today is just to wake up and keep punching, man.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that, and the fact that you weren't starting, you were playing with a Division 1 player, Kevin Swan, and a Division 1 player behind you, Jermaine Golson. So it wasn't like you weren't starting against guys that weren't really good players themselves. But I did want to ask about your brother Jonathan. Was it easier on him by the time he got there? Did the fact that you struggled a little bit and you had to establish your reputation, did it make it easy for him when he went through?
Yeah, and I hope he's listening to this, JB. Like, you're welcome, brother. Like, I paved the way with a flamethrower, man. So as soon as he walked in the gym, he had the same situation. But they all knew once he said, "I'm Jonathan Baker." Oh, you get it? Oh, yeah, I got Jonathan. I got because they knew that competing and it was in our DNA. So hell yeah, it was a lot easier for Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Boo Williams, Gannon, and he's a legend. For folks who don't know, played in the NBA. I believe he's from Tidewater area. Played in the NBA, but he was one of the most influential AAU figures of all time. Movie coming out. Hampton was known. Newport News, Hampton, was known as a football area. It was not a basketball area. If anything, I think Norfolk was more of a basketball area. When I was class of '84, it started to change around the mid to late '80s, and all of a sudden it became a basketball area. Did that have something to do with Boo Williams? You think the fact that the basketball really started to elevate in that area?
Yeah, 100%. I think it had to do with Boo Williams because Boo actually played for my dad at Phoebus High School.
Oh, is that right?
And then, yeah, yeah. And he had a scholarship, multiple scholarships all over the country, tore his knee at Paul Webb's basketball camp, Old Dominion, and ended up playing for St. Joe's. And being up there, he, saw the Sunny Hill League and the Summer League and got that idea. And so he started with the Boo Williams Summer League, brought it to Hampton. I think the birth of the Boo Williams AAU organization, and then having Alonzo Mourning be a Gatorade Player of the Year, be an All-American. I think before him, J.R. Reed,
Hmm.
maybe. So, you get players like that. You get a Ricky Wilson who ended up playing for the Chicago Bulls, had a longer
George Mason.
career. Yeah, played at George Mason, had a longer career than Boo Williams in the NBA. Now works for the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan. Players like that, obviously Allen Iverson. You could go on and on with Damon Bako, Tony Rutland. So, you know, that kind of sparked um, the attention of Hampton getting on the map. I mean, Boo would play against the Russian junior national team with local guys. My former teammate Kevin Swan was the point guard. I mean, and they would beat them. They would beat these national, junior Olympic teams, and obviously with Nike. putting fuel on Boo's fire really got him to where yeah, he's the GOAT and he's the Hall of Famer. He was one of the first to ever run a global AAU program and help so many kids, not just get scholarships, Jay, but just put us in the right position to have an environment where we had to foster critical thinking, leadership, loving people that were different than us, and just human connectiveness. And so I'm always in debt to Boo and his coaches, Coach Jose, and guys like that.
Yeah. Well, Gannon, I didn't realize your dad was a coach. I don't know if it's any relation to Jack Baker at all, but tell us a little bit about your dad and his basketball career.
Yeah, Jack Baker, great coach at Maury. So my dad grew up in Hampton when they were all white. And then, now me and my brother go there and it's 70% African American. So that was great to see and for him to see the transition and tell us the stories. And, his first elementary job as a principal was at Barron. He was a teacher at Hampton High, worked his way up. And that's how I fell in love with basketball. He would take me to Boo Williams, was on his team to Phoebus practices, Ricky Wilson. And I was 8 years old and just was a ball boy and tried to get up some shots during water breaks. And as I got older, would play him one-on-one. He would kick my rear end. And that's how I got my competitive spirit. And just never lost the love for the game. But I owe him and my grandfather, who lived across the street. Um, he put a goal on the side of a garage, and that's how I learned how to play the game, and not only that, but think the game. So my dad was in the stands, and he would critique me, evaluate me after the game. If I had like 20 points and I was feeling full of myself, he would say, "Yeah, but you missed three box outs. You were in the right help position on pick and roll, and you had four turnovers, only three." So he kept me humble and he kept me hungry.
Yeah. Well, that's I did not know he was the coach. Well, I mean, one of the so Gannon, I met you. I was at UVA, and you and Aaron Monday and those guys were playing AAU. You must have been like a U14, U15. I'd referee your games, and I remember you because you were the only white kid, but you were ambidextrous, and you were shooting with both hands at a very young age. And then I remember I was at the games when you played South Lakeson High School as well, and it was amazing how well you had developed. How did that come to be that you were an ambidextrous player? That was something you didn't see at all back then.
Well, Jay, I hope you gave me some calls at UVA
I
during
tried
our.
to.
I just, I
I tried
just
to help the
remember
only
getting.
white guy out.
Hey, thank you, man. I didn't have the quicks, man. I had to use my hands, and that hand checking rule really hurt me back in the day. But
No, you were really good. By the time I came across you, you were already a
yeah,
really tough player. So that was
yeah.
those years were way behind us. Yeah.
Uh, well, I think if you look at mistakes as an education, if you look at failure as fuel to successful fire, I think that's kind of how I learned how to shoot with my left hand. I had an injury when I was 12 to my right hand, and I couldn't dribble or pass. It was like a fractured finger, broken knuckle, or something. And I would sit around the house and not go work out. And my mom one day said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Well, just wait till my hand heals. I can't play basketball." And they're like, "Well, you got a left, don't you? Go out there and do your workout with left-handed." I'm like, "All right." So I did all my drills left-handed and just would shoot for hours and hours with one hand. And then 2 months later, my hand was better. And all of a sudden, it was at Paul Webb's basketball camp. My dad said, "Hey, are you shooting left-handed?" I was like, "Yeah." When I'm on the left side or the defender's take away my space, yeah. He's like, "Damn." And he's like, and he didn't deter it because he knew I wasn't trying to do it for show. It was like an asset for me, not being as tall or as athletic as a Bubba Chuck or a Kevin Swan or Jermaine Golson. So I had to be, really skilled and so that as I got older, played at, a high level. We won the state championship my junior year. My senior year, we almost won it again. We lost by four against Bayside. Going to college, I made the all freshman team. Atlantic 10 started 28, 9 minutes a game as a freshman, which was it's hard to do now, it was hard to do back then too. And then I played professionally overseas, had a try with the Denver Nuggets. Through my playing career, man, it would intimidate people. It would mess people up. It was a distraction because coaches were like, "Hey, force him left." I am. And then I remember lefty Drizel, we're playing JMU, and I come down and hit a J left-handed, and he turns to Chuck. Yo, I thought you said his left hand was his right hand. Like we're forcing him left, and he's taking it and shooting it loud. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
And so I'd have guys during the game just ask me, "Hey man, what hand are you? Where do I force you?" I'm like, "Man, it doesn't matter."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just, I mean, it didn't. I got cut by the Nuggets, had an NBA tryout, but it wasn't good enough to get me to the EuroLeague or to the NBA. But it was an asset that paid off and allowed me to be the best version of myself. And then now, Jay, when I coach, if I have a left-handed player, I'm demonstrating, and we call it shadow boxing in our industry, left-handed. And if I have a right-handed player, I'm showing them how to play. You know what I mean? So it's and I might with AI and everything now going online, and I might start reinventing myself as a shooting coach. Like right now, I'm a holistic player development coach, but I might I might start marketing myself as a shooting coach because I don't think anybody in the world is a ambidextrous shooting coach or can shoot with the proficiency and efficiency that I can with both hands. And so it's like it's something different. Of here's why you would hire Gannon. Wow, has all kind of shooting. Man, he's ambidextrous. He taught him. You know what I mean? If he can shoot with both hands, he can teach you how to shoot with one. It's like it's a great selling point. So, but it all came from an injury, right? A mistake
Yeah.
that
Well,
turned into amazing success for me.
yeah. Well, for all the weapons Hampton had, Grant, when I interviewed Grant, that's what he said. They were worried about you shooting both hands. And to me, I'm thinking, well, who cares what hand he shoots with? If he makes it, he makes it. But that was in the back of South Lakes' head that you were ambidextrous. That was something that they were really
Yeah.
worried about. Have you had a player that you've coached since that's as two-handed as you are? Have you ever met another player like that?
Uh, two people come to mind. I spent about 4 or 5 days with Kobe Bryant.
Hmm.
Did some Nike workouts with him, and like Kobe could shoot left-handed. It was pretty smooth, right? In practice and stuff, like it wasn't, you know, we call it gangly or weak. Um, and then a guy named Ryan Rizuki, he's a player development coach, has a couple gyms out in San Diego. I mentored him for like 8 years, and he always told me I'm gonna be able to shoot ambidextrous. So his is really good, you know.
Right.
But again, Ryan never played college or high school ball, and I never used it in a real competition. Neither did Kobe. But I think there's one guy out there right now that does it, a junior. I don't know his name. Somebody sent me some highlights of him the other day. He's like 6'8", 6'9".
Hmm.
So, but yeah, it's an enigma. I don't recommend it for kids. I mean, I don't teach them. I just did it because my mom said get outside and play.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And back then you didn't have the distractions online that you have now,
Yeah.
nor the necessity to, go, there just wasn't a lot to do. There was a bowling alley, an arcade, a pool.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't as many choices nowadays. So I just spent time in my backyard, learning how to shoot with both hands.
Yeah. Did you have to get clearance from Coach Brower to use your left hand for three pointers, or did
You know, great question.
okay?
Thank God, no. Thank God, no. But I got some stories behind that. They allowed me to just play free. Coach Brown just wanted me to take good shots. And then if all my teammates are listening, I'm gonna be real. Y'all didn't give me the ball enough, man.
You
Like,
had a lot of
you
weapons.
know,
Yeah.
oh man, we had a lot of weapons, but I that was another reason why I worked so hard on my shot because I knew I wasn't gonna get a lot of them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I love to shoot, but I was a point guard, right? And so I had to be unselfish. But went to Dean Smith's basketball camp 2 years in a row, made the top six each summer, and he gave me a walk-on spot. Like, hey, if you want to come here to walk on, we'll take you. But he said, when you come, you got to pick a hand. he would not let me shoot with both hands because he wanted me to perfect, which made sense. I mean, he's the GOAT. So I ended up going to UNC Wilmington, after I transferred from Duquesne, and Jerry Wainwright, who coached helped recruit Tony Rutland, what I mean, or knew about him at Wake Forest. He got his first year coaching was my senior year at Wilmington because our previous coach, we did so well. We got him a job at Washington State, Kevin Eastman.
He's a legend.
Yeah, Kevin Eastman's the world champion. So Coach E let me shoot with both hands. Coach Carroll at Duquesne, who ended up coaching for the Celtics, let me shoot with both hands. But Wainwright did not, to the fact where he took away my right hand.
Mm.
And he and I fought like respectfully for months about, hey man, let me just choose. And he's like, no, your free throw. I shoot free throws with my left hand. And I shot like 89% as a career free throw shooter. He's like, you're gonna do that during the game. And I didn't like it, but he didn't let me shoot with my right hand. Every time I did, he would take me out as far as jumpers. And then if I was in practice, he made me run the stairs twice. So I'm like, all right, he's the boss.
Yeah. Well, Gannon,
So
how do you explain, or how would you describe Coach Brower's style from afar? Didn't know him. I saw you guys beat South Lakes. I saw the Bayside game that you lost. I was there for all those games. Your team was so physical. You had football players. My buddy Aaron Mundy. It was a very balanced team. You were talking about
yeah,
you didn't get a lot of shots. I could see why, because you had a lot of really good players. Not any like Allen Iverson, but just you had like 8 or 9 really, really good players. So it was a very balanced team. So, from afar, he looks like a very balanced coach, physical coach, but that might just have been his personnel that he had. How would you describe him as a coach?
yeah, David Goggins. Yeah,
Hmm.
like he
Yeah.
was a drill sergeant.
Oh,
He was tough, very introverted. He would just nod. He didn't praise you much, but he would nod his head.
mhm.
And I'm glad I played for him because it it made me tough. It made me hungry. It made me want to do more, to receive more. Um, he was a cold coach, but he was a good man. You know what I mean? But like when he stepped on the line, he had when you stepped across the basketball lines, he had a scowl all the time. And it was like you to do something well, and you would have to have positive self-talk because you weren't going to get it from him.
Yeah.
And he was very meticulous. He was a perfectionist. So we would stay in defensive drills, no lie, Jay, maybe one or two of the same drills for 45 minutes. And we couldn't get bored. And we had to keep our like we were tough. We were tough because of the culture he set. I mean, we no matter what time of the year, it was always 3 hour practice. Like
Wow.
no like leading up to the state tournament, we 3 hour the day before, like we play on Friday, Thursday was a 2.5 hour practice. And I'm
Mm.
not talking like watching film. I'm talking like 10 suicides every practice. You know,
Wow.
and you might only run 9 if he had Ganon Baker or Jermaine Golson come up, shoot a free throw. All right, then you don't have to run the 10th. So he was tough. And the only reason I think we won the state, almost won it again, was because of our interior defense of Aaron Mundy, Lonnie Man, God bless his soul, um, Rick Hunter, Giovanni Freeman, David Blizzard. Like our big guys were tough, physical, and Coach Brower was hard nosed. So we weren't afraid of anything. We were tough. We were in shape. Didn't know a lot of X and O's. Like, it was simple stuff we ran. But I mean, he had me at the point, and he had Kevin Swan at the point. I mean, you're talking about two pros, right? European pros and guys that played mid-major college basketball. So like we knew what how to play. Our two guard, Pete Bayco, Jermaine. I mean, Cedric Williams, Dame, like we had guys that knew how to play because that's all we did in the 757. We'd play at Newport News, and then that afternoon we might, drive to Virginia Beach, drive to Chesapeake, drive Lafayette. Like we played all the time.
Yeah.
And so we learned how to play through pickup because if you lost in Hampton Roads, you had to wait an hour because there'd be 20 guys waiting to play.
Yeah.
Right. And so our IQ, I think, was from us just being good basketball players and our toughness and our defensive mindset. That's what Coach Brower was great at.
Did Coach Brower teach Aaron Monday that drop step?
Yeah, I mean they did that drill every day. It was him, Art Jones, I would say, played at Hampton High. Yeah, Art actually worked for me for 8 years when I had a local training business in Hampton. But Art Jones was our player development guy, taught us moves and counters, basics, and yeah, man, the drop step, heavy ball, like Aaron did must have done 50, 60 every practice before practice. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I got a lot of my assists, man. Aaron could get buckets. David Blizzard could get buckets. Yeah, our guys, we had really good big guys.
Yeah. So I want to get to that South Lakes game in your junior year. So did you guys? I think you had beaten Kendrick Warren and TJ in the game before, or was that your senior year? You played Kendrick.
So yeah, so my senior year, we beat Kendrick Warren,
Okay, that's your senior. Okay, let's go to your. I want
right?
to go to your junior year first.
Junior
Now,
year,
now, that was South Lakes in the semis,
in
right?
we played them in the semis again. Um, I'm getting, I think we beat William Fleming the first round.
You beat
I think.
you killed them, and South Lakes had
Okay,
beaten, I
yeah,
believe, Potomac. Now going
Potomac,
into the South Lakes had Rob Robinson, who was a 20-point a game
good
scorer
player.
at Niagara.
Yeah,
They had a really balanced team. Grant was Grant. Going
Hall of
into that
Famer.
game, did you guys think that you were the favorites and going to beat them, or did you guys because you guys went a 7-5-7, or back then I guess it was still 804, wasn't it? But did you guys think going into that game that you guys were the favorite? You were gonna beat South Lakes?
Um, I mean, I think everybody picked South Lakes except us. I mean, we knew we were gonna compete with them. Yeah, like we thought we were gonna win. Both like it was no. I mean, I think the best thing for us is we lost to Mari and Cornell Parker at Norfolk State um, in the regional championship. And back then, I think both teams went.
Different
J-
brackets.
Yeah, and so that woke us up. And when we got there, we were like, no, we're gonna win this thing. Like
Yeah.
we were dogs, man. We were like, look, Grant's gonna get 50. We can't stop him. And all right, let's just make sure that he scores his 50 at inopportune times. And we just were, but yeah, we were tough. I think we were tougher than them collectively.
He said he
You know
had
what I
never
mean?
played against basketball players who were as tough as that team. He's played against tough guys before, but not tough guys
Yeah.
that could play basketball. And he said you guys were very physical, but you guys were very good.
Yeah,
Um,
dirty. I mean, you watch the game. Our bigs had some dirty plays, and I remember like yesterday, like Lonnie Man or Rick Hunter, like just undercut Grant, hit him in the chest, and like Grant fell. And I think this was my senior. It was my senior year that I helped him up because me and Grant played on the same five-star basketball team that summer at Honesdale. We won the championship, and we became friends. And I helped him up, and then I think Aaron or Lonnie grabbed me and said, "Man, don't help that mofo up no more. Don't help him." I'm like, "Come on, man, y'all are killing them." Like, come on, I had a little bit of sympathy for them because they were just back. If you play like that now, they would kick you out for 2 or 3 games, maybe put you in jail for a night. Like, yeah, we were just killing them, man.
It was a different time. Well, let's go to the
Yeah,
final. You beat Petersburg and Kenny Harris. Now, Kenny Harris was the most improved player I had ever seen in high school. I had never seen a kid go from being just kind of an average player to all of a sudden, getting national spotlights, getting in USA Today. He really carried that Petersburg team.
he did.
Had a great tournament. Do you remember much about that game and playing against Kenny Harris?
I do, because I had to guard him, and I'm like, "Dang, man, this guy's an All-American. He's going to Carolina." You know what I mean? I was going to his camp, right? And he got a scholarship to that team. But I just remember we had so much confidence and toughness, obviously upsetting South Lakes that we didn't, okay, we beat a Dookie, now we just gonna beat a Carolina. and both of those teams, I think South Lakes was a lot more well balanced.
Yeah.
But like, Petersburg, that's all they had was Kenny. And he scored 40, I think, or 39, right, in the finals against us, but we won by 19, I believe. And it's because they just, he rested on defense, in my opinion, and the other guys were just kind of ball watching on offense. So they're very predictable. And I think they ran out of gas and weren't as tough as us down the stretch. And we showed it because, I mean, we won that game handily.
Yeah. So Gator, what did being a state champion mean to you? How has that changed your
Well,
life? The fact that you won a state championship,
Well,
and
well, you said it, and I'm gonna tell you what Ray Allen told me. Ray and I did a tour with Jordan Brand in Spain, and we got to spend time together, work out together. And I asked Ray, I was like, "What can I teach these young kids? What can I give them? Because I do a lot of player development." And he said, "Teach them how to win. Teach them how to act like a winner." I said, "Wow." I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear him define it. And he said, "Because winning changes your life." You just said it. Winning changes your life. You fall in love with the process of just trying to get a sniff, right, to win. You're just trying to get a district championship. That's hard to do. And you do that. And then you're like, all right, let's see if we can keep this thing going. And you become regional runners up, going to the state tournament. And then you're like, yo, we're going to win this. Of all the teams, AAA in the state of Virginia, and we're number one, and we beat a team that has future NBA play. Are you kidding me? The process of going through that is the recipe for success the rest of your life as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a leader, as a human. And I've coined a keynote talk about 5 world championship winning behaviors. There's 5 behaviors that I've learned from being on the court with 24 GOATs and or world champions. And these 5, we had it at Hampton High.
yeah,
We had it,
yeah,
right? Kevin Swan, Pete Baycoat, Jermaine Golson, Aaron Mundy, Kevin Swan, Rick Hunter, all of us had these winning behaviors. And that that's how it changes your life because you get a blueprint through sports that translates to life because life is a game,
yeah,
and a lot of people are winning,
yeah,
and we don't want to lose.
exactly. Yeah, and,
So
And
it,
Hampton
it
had very
changes
much
it
a
changes your
championship.
life.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken. And Hampton had very much had a championship culture. Mike Smith in football, they were winning football titles when
Yeah.
you were there. When you were there as well, that couldn't have hurt. Let me ask you about your senior year real quick. You beat South Lakes again. This time it couldn't be a fluke. They knew exactly what to expect. This time they had Grant at point guard, changed a little bit, but you lost to Bayside, which you remember earlier. I saw that Bayside team. I saw that game. I saw them win the championship the next year as well. That team wasn't that talented. Why were they so tough to beat? Bayside team, they beat you in the regional finals. They beat some good teams both years. What made that Bayside team so tough?
Well, I don't know if Aaron Mundy listens to this, but he
I'll send
might
it to
not
him.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
send it to him.
yeah,
And I think Bayside beat us both times because me and Aaron didn't play our best. Like we played
yeah,
solid. But I didn't play well against them in Norfolk State, and I didn't play well against them um, at William and Mary. And it might have been from their full court pressure. It might have been me trying to do too much. It might have been I mean, Ron L. Jenkins and Mario Mullen, God bless us. Like I know in the finals between them, they had 40 rebounds and 40 points between those two. And both games, we just didn't play well as a team. We needed some other players to step up. They did a little bit. Under Jermaine tried to step up, but he was only a freshman. But yeah, we just they were a great matchup for they their team matched up against us real well. And I would say both games they were just a lot tougher than us.
yeah. And they were one of
Made
those.
stops down the end, made free throws, forced me and Aaron not to score well, play make well. We just didn't play well. But yet we were right there.
Yeah,
And when you're at the championship level, you can't just work hard. You got to work hard and do it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we played hard, we played tough, but we didn't produce like they did.
Yeah. It was such a great story. That team, they'd never been a basketball power. They were down 13 to Wakefield in the state semifinals before they played you guys. And they held Wakefield scoreless in the fourth quarter, put the game in overtime, and they won it. Otherwise, you would have never seen them. That was an incredible piece of Virginia basketball history. But anyway,
Eh,
good.
let me ask you a question. Did Kenya Hunter play for Wakefield?
You did.
All right. So Kenya ended up visiting Duquesne when I was transferring out, and I was his host, and now we're friends. Wakefield might have beat us too because Kenya was an amazing defensive, offensive, two-way player. I remember that Wakefield team. They might have beat us too.
Yeah, they
So,
beat they had beaten South Lakes in the regional final.
yeah,
Many thought that was an upset, but
yeah,
they had a really well coached team. They played that it was a Louisville high-low game, Denny Crum, and they played it really
yeah,
well. Very patient team. Did not shoot outside very much. It would have been a great game, but
yeah.
may the best man win. Well, you mentioned Duquesne. How'd you end up at Duquesne?
Well, of all the schools that were recruiting me, they were the highest level. So I went to them because I had a chance to start or at least play right away in Atlantic 10. And back then it was, I mean, listen to this, man. Penn State, UMass, West Virginia, Rutgers, St. Joe's, Temple, Rhode Island, George Washington, Duquesne. I mean, St. Bonaventure. It was amazing, high level. I wanted to play at the high level. At the time, I was majoring in business. It was a great business school. I was in Pittsburgh. I could go see Steelers and the Pirates. Um, get out the South a little bit, see what the North was like, and they just did a great job recruiting me. So I went there, broke my foot my first year, got redshirted, which was awesome. It was like a prep school year for me. Ended up starting my second year, averaged about 9 points, 4 assists, had a really good year, and made the all freshman team. However, our coach got in some trouble and a lot of the players transferred out. So I just, you know what, I'm gonna transfer out. My parents never got to see me play. So I went to the CAA, which they saw every game because we played Old Dominion, William Mary, Richmond, George Mason. It was all close driving distance, James Madison from Hampton. And from Hampton, UNC Wilmington is only 4.5 hour drive. So, they would come down Saturday morning, leave Sunday morning, be back to school Monday, and saw me play every game.
What makes Kevin Eastman such a legend? He's come up in several interviews that I've done over the years, and I didn't know much about him, but the first time he came up, I looked him up, and the superlatives that are attached to his name about being a basketball genius are pretty remarkable. So, what did you learn from Kevin Eastman?
What not did I learn? I mean, he's one of the most impactful, not only basketball people in my life, but humans. And his wife, Wendy, really just kind of adopted me down in 1993 when I transferred. And, we've been friends ever since. I saw them a few months ago when I did some workouts in Richmond. But I think what makes him the best that I've ever seen and one of the best, a world champion NBA coach is because he has so much fire and passion for himself, and then he expects that from others, and he gives you, whether you're an 8-year-old, whether you're a Fortune 500 exec, or you're Chris Min and Ganon Baker at UNC Wilmington, like he's gonna show up every day with 100% intensity and focus. Like I've never seen a coach as passionate, as intense, as caring, as consistent than him. And so his approach to his craft and who he and the standards he holds for himself, thus the competency. Like there's not a question in basketball that he didn't have a great answer for, and leadership in life. And if he doesn't have it, he'll point you in the right direction for you to go get it. And then he'll go home and make sure that he has an answer next time. Like he's so knowledgeable about the game because he's always learning. He's one of the greatest learners I've ever seen, and he's addicted. It makes you become a learner as well. Like you want to produce what he has. You want to be as fired up and dive into growth like he does. He's a very infectious personality, and he's still like that today in his 70s. He does a lot of leadership talks, and he speaks to the LA Rams and Boston Celtics and the Clippers and Fortune 500 companies like Amazon. And he's got a great book out called Why the Best Are the Best. You got to put that, Julian, on your library behind you.
I
And,
will.
and he's got 25 things of what makes the best the best. And he's the best, Kevin
Wow.
Eastman.
Yeah. Yeah. I have so much good things. Now, again, and the fact that you were able to transfer, you had to sit out a year. Do you think it's too easy today for kids to transfer?
Yeah, that's an understatement, 100%, because there's no free agency anywhere. So when there's no barrier to entry, you're going to have chaos, you're going to have confusion, you're going to have illiteracy, and so now kids aren't forced to sit and one, be bored, and two, figure it out. And those two things right there hinder, people like us that are trying to lead and impact. Because when you get bored, you start to find out who you are. You start to be creative with your mind and find solutions and kind of have that imagination that all of us had growing up because our parents didn't always entertain us, nor our coaches. Obviously, we talked about Coach Brower, man. You 3 hour practice, you had to motivate yourself, man. You weren't getting much from him with that. And then, all right, oh, I don't like this, so I'm gonna go here. I don't like this. It's like giving a kid five different meals in one meal. Oh, you don't like this? How about this? How about, nah, man, this is all you get. You either take it or leave it, figure it out, work with it. And it's ruined a lot of the high school, college, and NBA game. I mean, I don't even watch a lot of basketball now, man. I really don't, unless it's a very good culture. It's championship level. It's ruined the game, man, because of the no barrier entry. You can transfer anytime you want. Nobody holds. It's hard to hold people accountable when there's not legislation
Yeah.
and rules and regulations in. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why the NBA has, you know, 2, 3 year contracts and there's rules on free agency.
Yeah. Well, I don't like the game today is because the game is a skilled game now. Like what you teach to your athletes. I liked it better when you played, where Hampton mentally had the advantage over the opponent. I like it because it was a game of wills back then. It wasn't about skill, even though, of course, you had to have skill. But when we played basketball, it was a game of wills. Now it's a skill game. It's who can make the most three pointers, who can execute, the sets. And so, it's still compelling, but it's just a very different game than like Peninsula basketball, where Hampton's going against Phoebus and the gym is packed. And I mean, who really wants this game?
Yeah.
That's to me that's missing in today's game. But I did want to ask you, and you know a lot about this. Why do some athletes, once they get to college and they're 18, 19 years old, why do they stop improving? Why don't they get to the next level? So, can you see it? Can you see it coming? So kids do well in high school. It's great. Now there's definitely some politics to get to the next level. You got to be at the right program and all that stuff. But why do they stop improving? Why do some elite athletes hit a floor right around their second or third year of college?
Um, because that was their goal their whole life.
Mm,
So when you reach your goal, you've made it. You've made it. So a lot of these kids' goal was to, man, I want to get a scholarship for many reasons, right? Many reasons. And they get that scholarship, and they figure out a way to be content and be comfortable and do just enough to keep the scholarship. Hey, I'm gonna show up on time. I'm gonna do what you're asked. I'm gonna go hard, but they don't exceed the coach's expectations. And that's, if you're a high level coach or you're a can-do guy, you're a winner, you have a winner's mentality. We expect you to exceed our expectations. We expect you to lead us. We expect you to teach us, inspire us. be autonomous, right? There's a law out there called the law of reciprocity. If I give you love, you turn around and give me more. You know what I mean? If I tell you to win, you not only win, but now you go teach others and you're teaching me how to win on it. So that's long gone unless you've ever been around a Kevin Garnett, which I have, a Ray Allen, a Terry Rozier, a Maya Moore, a Lindsey Whalen, a Kelsey Plum. Like I've not only been around these guys, a Kobe, a LeBron, a KD, you know. I've trained Amari Stoudemire, like Harrison Barnes. I've been around high level performers where they're like, here's my goal. And as soon as they reach it, they got four more goals. And it never stops. And that is very rare, almost extinct. Steph Curry has it.
Hmm.
Caitlin Clark, I think, has it. She came to WNBA and she wouldn't just win Rookie of the Year. She wanted to transform the game and be a global icon. I mean, so it's they get fat and happy. I mean, no, it's human nature, man. It's
Yeah.
human nature. You win $1 million in the lottery and you retire
Mm.
and you take the foot off the gas and next thing you know, you got to start working again because you blew all the money.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it with, I've been coaching in my private industry for 25 years and I've seen NBA players come in, get a 3-year contract as a rookie, and then they're out the league and they got no money. So it's just human nature. And it's something that we need to talk about, Jay. We need to educate these athletes about, look, all right, you got a scholarship, but let's process it. Let's be aware. Now what? What do you want to do in college? What do you want to do on the court, off the court? But that's just the start of your legacy, man.
Mm. That's a great answer. Well, Gannon, it did. I get a feeling it didn't go quite as well for you when Jerry Wainwright was there because you're butting heads on how you play. That's a big fundamental change to me if you've been playing the same way for a long time. How was your senior year under Jerry Wainwright?
It wasn't the best, but again, Coach Wainwright is one of my mentors right now. I went down to his Hall of Fame induction last spring. He sends me, winning letters every week. He's a good friend, and he and I have talked about it. He didn't handle because we were picked third in the conference. We were co-champs that year with Old Dominion. You know what I mean? So we got the number 2 seed in the CAA tournament. We ended up losing to Richmond by
Mm.
4. And a lot of it had to do with some X and O things. We ran 3 offenses. But however, we were top, I think, 8 in the country defensive field goal percentage. So he was very crystal clear on his defensive philosophy. Offensive philosophy, he used us as a sounding board, as an experiment. And one of them was how he dealt with my ambidexterity. And yeah, we butted heads in the beginning, and he started me, which was cool. And then I ended up breaking my leg at Old Dominion against Mike Jones. Yeah, playing against him came down on my foot, so I missed a month. Ended up finishing the year, still played a lot, played well. I think I averaged about 8 points and 2 or 3 assists, but I could have had a joyful senior year if I didn't have to teach myself how to be a dominant. So I had to go left all the I mean, it was hard for me. And then the offense that we ran, was tough on us. We only averaged, right, 52 points a game, man. And so I was like the third leading scorer on my team, averaging almost 8, 9 points a game. So it's like, that was tough. And then he ended up becoming a Hall of Famer at Wilmington, Richmond. He figured it out and and he became a hell of a coach. But for us, it was like, he was a rookie coach, coaching veterans. Like we were vets. We had 4 seniors, myself, 3 others that were started. Like, just let us go, man. We were stallions, tough. And he coached us like rookies at time, and I think he knows that.
Yeah.
But we're good. We're good now. He still teaches me things, and he's well into his late 70s.
Yeah, well, it's a process, and I guess he was on his way on his coaching journey. So Gannon, how did you Explain the transition to coach, not trainer, but you were a coach just like all these other guys on the sidelines. And was that the life for you? Because you ended up finding your dream passion.
Yeah, it was funny. I wanted to go overseas at first, but I hurt my back in training that summer, so I couldn't go to any tryout camps and all that. So I got a GA at Hampton University. So I got a master's from Hampton University. I was a GA there. I got another job at Belmont Abbey, Division II, full-time assistant there. Finished my master's at Winthrop, and then moved up the coaching ladder to Coastal Carolina, Division I. Pete Strickland, who played for Morgan at DeMatha, was my head coach.
Strict.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, Strickland. He recruited me at Old Dominion and played against me at Old Dominion. And here I'm working for him. Phenomenal, phenomenal. One of the best I've ever seen coaches in the world. So he was still to this day is my mentor. And I just told him after 5.5 years of coaching, this is not enough basketball for me. And he got it. You know what I mean? So in 1999, you know, ended up taking one of my players to a tryout camp in Myrtle Beach, and they needed one more player to make the teams even. So I played. Man, I ended up getting Iceland, Ireland, and Switzerland offers from that weekend. I took Iceland because it paid me the most money, and I could do some, player development, private stuff over there. So I played in Iceland. Tore a tibial tendon, came back, didn't know what I was going to do, missed the window of the season going back to Iceland. So started my company in a boot. Shake and bake basketball is a boot. So I go around speaking to camps in a boot, teaching kids how to work out through adversity. Got the boot off, started my business. Felt good the next summer. My agent got me a tryout with the Denver Nuggets. Made it through a couple cuts, finally got cut. And then, 2001 officially, it became a business and I never looked back. And I just fell in love with the game, relationships, doing something I love instead of doing something I like. Um, Staying in the gym, getting paid for it, all of that, inclusive in a career. God's given me a gift. In the Bible, Romans 12:6, we're all given gifts, and my gift is just teaching, inspiring, impacting through basketball. I mean, it has to be. I'm not that smart. I'm not famous, but I've been involved in basketball almost every week, every day at times since I was 8, and I'm 53 at this present time. That has to be a gift, and I'm still going. I'm still relevant. 53 countries, 6 continents. I get booked all the time. I'm just trying to figure out how else I can impact through the game, what else I can do. But I got out of college coaching because of the system of the NCAA, just not enough time with the players coaching basketball. And so now there's no restrictions to me except the ones I put on myself so I can spend time with players and people and impacting them on how to win in the game and how to win in life, using basketball as the rod and staff or platform, if you will.
Yeah. Well, Gannon, there's a lot of personal trainers, one-on-one coaches. Is it and they do quite well. Is it a completely different skill set than being a team coach?
It is. The one, with the team coach, you got to deal with everything in the spectrum, right? But what I do is just one part of a team coach. So all successful programs, their head coach can lead, their head coach can teach, right? And when and coaching is three things. I got this from Jeff Van Gundy. Coaching is inspiration, right? That's what I do. Number two, coaching is execution. Now you got to get the players to do it. So you got to be a teacher. That's what I do. And the last one is relationships. It's a long season, the law of familiarity. You taking kids to a level where they've never been or seen. You're got different learning styles. You got to really get to know the person to coach the player. I do that 2 day, 3 day, a month. Very, it's short increments where team coaches might have the same kids for 3, 4, 5 years, and you really develop impact. The only thing is now, as you said, coaching in high school, coaching in college, it's easy to leave when the hard comes, the sharpening, because coaching is also holding people accountable and telling the truth. And a lot of kids nowadays, a lot of parents, a lot of agents can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
And so that's I don't have to deal with that if at all,
Yeah.
because I'm in 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and if I don't enjoy coaching this kid, I don't money. At least I don't money grab. Hey, go train with this guy because I can't coach you. I'm not good enough to coach. And I said, go train with this dude over there because I'm not good enough to coach you, man. You're not listening to me. It's on me. And team coaches can't do that.
Yeah.
Kid will leave,
Yeah.
on his own, but the team coach has to find a way to connect.
Yeah, you're stuck. Um, Gannon, what was the key to you getting all these huge names? I mean, you went from chasing your dream, playing ball in Europe. You've
Yeah.
been on the sidelines, Division One sidelines, but all of a sudden you're talking about Ray Allen. You're training at the highest level. How did you get from training athletes to training at the highest level?
Well, I would like to think it was some of that 757 water, man. They wanted to find out the swag and the seven. They're like, man, that dude must be from 757. Let me go train with him. No, it was Boo Williams. Boo Williams changed my coaching life in that sense because I tell the story all the time. I'm coming from Lansdowne High School across the bridge, nine. It was 8:30 at night. Boo calls me on my flip phone or BlackBerry, I can't remember, and says, "Hey, a Nike scout is coming by the gym tonight to watch us practice. You need to be there." Boo, he just sometimes oh, okay, Boo, why do I have to be there? Is he giving away free Nikes or Jordan? He's like, no, man, they're doing a Nike Skill Academy, which they're picking coaches to train the top 16 high school players in the country in hopes of maybe one day they become pros and they can build their signature shoe. So I'm like, all right, just do it. Let's go. So I go in and I always tell people when your opportunity comes, it's too late to work. And so at 9:30 at night after a long day, I mean, I've been, at that time, I think it was 2003. So I don't know, I might be 33. At 33, I've gotten so many reps as a player and coach that, I could do it in my sleep. And so I went in there and man, the guy said that was one of the best workouts I've ever seen. Would you like to work for Nike 3 months out the year? I said, let's just do it, baby. Y'all got a shoe for me? They shake and bake, air bakes. And that led to, again, our first workout with the lads, 16 of them. George Raveling gave us a motivational speech, God rest his soul, on the campus of Nike. I mean, we had Jonathan Shire, we had Kevin Durant, we had Kevin Love, we had Andre Blanche, we had Andrew Bynum, we had Derrick Rose, we had Tariq Evans. Like we had, you know, out of those 16 guys, we had like 13 NBA vets. And again, Kevin Durant was in that group. And then that led to Kobe Bryant Skill Academy, top two guards. You know, uh, Steph Curry was out there, got to rub shoulders with. I mean, it just went on and on. Amari Vince Carter, Kyrie Irving. I mean, it's just was Nike put the spotlight on my path,
That's awesome. Yeah.
and I was able to educate myself, motivate myself to where, all right, I created the path, but the spotlight still stayed on me for like 16 years. I was with them,
That's
so that's without Nike. I don't know if I would have gotten the street cred that I have now.
yeah.
I still would have been a successful businessman, but with Nike and you get the respect of people at the highest level. It kind of does something to your swag, Jay. You know what I mean? Little, and you add that to 757. I feel like I can go into any room and look eye to eye with people.
Yeah. I like to think without Ganon Baker, Nike wouldn't be where they are today. But
Oh man, come on, man. Let's go buy some stock then,
that's
because
right, man. So Ganon, you
that's
mentioned,
nice of you to say.
oh, of course, man. You mentioned the Bible earlier today, and it does feature prominently on your website and also your LinkedIn. How prominent is it in your coaching? Do you use the Bible? Do you use faith in coaching athletes?
I do, man. I try to use the Holy Spirit because um, unfortunately, in this world, people aren't receptive as much to spirituality. And sometimes it might come across as religion, which is man-made. So sometimes I'm very open about it. Other times I'm very subtle, but it's always there. My cross I take with me everywhere, even in the dark times of my life, and I'll be transparent at times about that. And even in the best times of my life, I think people need to have a foundation of what's next. How do we get here? And I bring it into every training session that I'm at, whether it's a coach, a player, one kid, 500 kids. I do so many different events. And it's only because one, they have to think about the afterlife. Two, basketball is a mental game. So why wouldn't you dive into a spiritual being, whether it's Hinduism, Buddhism, Joseph Smith, whatever your preferred faith is, Muslim? Because uh, uh, to me, being a Christian, Jesus wants us to have peace on the court and off the court, a purpose on the court, off the court, the plan to fulfill that purpose on and off the court, and then power to withstand the waves and the and the struggles that life brings, and you can't do it without strength and nowhere. So that's why I pray. That's why I go to church. That's why I talk about it, not to look good or use it as a political statement, but I mean, to get like tools. I'm a coach, I'm a player. I get into my bag. What's my spiritual bag? The four P's. And so I do it to help kids with their game because most of them, even pros, struggle with anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
Like all of them do. I do. And that, having a relationship with God helps that. And kids need to understand, look, you have a choice. And so now when somebody else comes with the church or a book, now they can kind of connect the dots and say, okay, this will help my game. How? Ganon's four P's that Jesus has been talking about for over 2,000 years.
What's those four P's, Gannon? What exactly are those four P's?
So a peace,
Mhm.
purpose, a plan to fulfill the purpose, and power. And if you want to go deep, the fifth one is premonition,
Mhm.
which is the ability to use your gut to guess, what should I do? And that's just the Holy Spirit getting by yourself and just, all right, man, do I take this job or this job? Do I marry this person or this person? Do I go on this podcast or not? I mean, it seriously, it's like time is our biggest resource, man, outside our health. And I mean, obviously I knew who you were, and I mean, I would do this in a heartbeat, but
Oh, thank you.
I don't do a lot of podcasts because
Mhm.
that's nothing personal. It's just it's not how I want to spend my time.
Yeah.
And so it's the premonition of, well, why am I going to go on Virginia Sports 11? Oh, okay. And it's call it common sense, call it street smarts. I just think if you're going to dive into some kind of faith, why wouldn't you let it make you more wise?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you described that perfectly, and it's something that we can all get on board with. But again, let's about training. What do trainers get wrong? I mean, there are so many trainers out here. Some of them are
Mhm.
very good. Some of them excellent players. They can make a pretty good living because most of the people the parents of the kids they train for don't know that much, that don't know any better. Where do trainers fail? What are some of the mistakes you see trainers making?
Well, I appreciate you answering that question. I could go on forever. A lot of them get it right, but I think you answered it with your question. It's a no barrier entry industry, right? I don't know what you do for a living, but you look very, very successful, very professional. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure there was a set of schools and regulations and certifications and education to do what you do. Um, that I didn't have to go to college for this. I could have done this at age 15. So that's what they get wrong. They get into this professional industry. I mean, I make well over six figures doing this, and there's guys that make seven figures doing this. Awesome. You What they get wrong is they have a seven-figure bank account with a five-figure education
Mhm.
about how to teach, how to inspire, how to build relationships. It's the competency of these trainers because the game is. I mean, I've been in this 25 years, Jay. I have changed the content of what I taught in 2000 to now. Like the game is based on the game,
You have to.
right? I mean, the game has changed. You said it. Everybody can pass, dribble, shoot. So it's helping kids figure out what their role is in each team. How are you going to set yourself apart from the other players that can pass, shoot, drill? So it's staying on top of the game. It's connecting with a text, not talk generation.
Mm.
You know, it's not inspiring people with the story of Allen Iverson. It's how we going to use AI to connect with these kids online. I mean, you know what I mean? So when I bring up AI, they think I'm talking about artificial intelligence. I'm talking about Bubba Chuck. So, I mean, so what my point is, it's relate. I mean, I'm 53. I'm training a 15-year-old this morning. Well, how are you going to impact? They're paying you X amount of dollars. You want to impact them. You connect with them, and these parents don't know. They have no clue. You could go in there, sweat a lot, be loud, use all these different props, products, and they think, man, my baby girl's getting better. And all she did was go to a glorified Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She played some games, had some fun, he exuberated some endorphins and dopamine, but it's the education, and they have to take it as serious as their money that they get, right? They have to take that their education and their teaching and their calling just as serious.
Yeah.
You know, I
So,
call it I call it net work
mhm.
versus net worth.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these trainers are great at networking, getting you right to hire me to go here, be on this podcast, use humans to get them to the level they want to go. But at some point, the real ones expose the pretend ones, and now they don't have any net worth. Like, what do you bring to justify this this fee and this level?
Yeah.
Because as we full circle that question, it's a no barrier entry industry.
Yeah. Well, so Gannon, so if you're a parent, and, you live here in Loudoun County, there's a lot of options. Probably you check and see where the trainer played, or does he have a coaching record? You may try to check out the athletes that they've trained, but a lot of times the people, the ball players are just good players. It might not be a reflection of so much of the trainer. He's just getting them more touches. What kind of questions should they be asking? What's the best way for the parent to find the right trainer, the one that's going to send their kid to the other level? And maybe sometimes it's personal training is not what your kid needs.
Yeah, number one, everybody doesn't need a trainer. Even today, the landscape of where the game is going with NIL and transfer portal, again, I don't think you need a trainer. And if you do, you don't need to see him every week. With that being said, I don't know if I have the right questions, but I think number one, not necessarily in the importance of order, it means a lot what levels you played. I mean, definitely your playing experience means a lot, especially if you're undersized. Like if you get a 6'10" guy that say, "Oh yeah, I play this level." Okay, that's great. But most of the kids that we player development train are short. I call it the five S's. They're short, they're slow, they're stupid, they're soft, they're silent, they're selfish, they're shy. That was seven, Jay. Like they are underdogs without the dog. You know what I mean? So they need teaching. So playing experience, any coaching college experience, hell, if you coached in college, I don't care what level. All right, that's a reason that I'll try it out. Like, because to be a college coach, most of the time, I mean, you gotta really have experience and have some professionalism. And number three, how long, have you been coaching or training in your business?
Mhm.
I think those three will make a decision. And then here's what whether you're paying $30 an hour or $350 an hour, right? Stay there and watch 2 sessions. You know what I mean? Are the drills game-like? Is there organization and progression from the intro, body, and conclusion of that workout? How hard is the coach working holistically? You know what I mean? Emotionally, physically, mentally, how hard are they working? Are they sweating? Are they demonstrating? Are they articulating? Can they teach? The next one, how hard is your kid training? Right. The next one is, all right, what did they learn and how are you going to build habits? Meaning, if it's an hour workout and he didn't require the kid to take notes or there wasn't a PDF or a follow up, like a prescription you get from the doctor, well, how are they going to learn? What's the next step? All right, next time you see me, I want this, this, and this done, or you need to bring this. Like, is there accountability? Right. And most training sessions are kids are burning calories and they're having a good experience, but there's no development happening from workout to workout to workout to workout. And I think the reason I'm in the game so long for almost 3 decades is because I have a curriculum.
Yeah.
That's my last question to ask these parents. Hey, let me see your curriculum.
Yeah.
And it's not a book of drills. Like it's a holistic curriculum
Right.
from A to Z. Here's how to build your player physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and financially. If that's from A to Z, zero to pro.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to have the financial or spiritual part, but you got to have the physical, the mental, and emotional, because that's what these kids need to play for a Hampton High, play for a Duquesne, play for a UNC Wilmington, right? To play overseas and to get NBA trial is you got to have the physical, mental, and emotional. And if you had that as a player, it's easy to develop that as a coach. And the more you coach, the more you add to that curriculum and the more of a professional teacher you will be. Great question. I hope all the young, DMV 757 trainers out there are listening, man, because y'all think it easy. You think it's easy, and it's not. And we have a responsibility to these parents, especially if they're paying, a couple $100, thousands of dollars into their baby girl, baby boy's development. Like we owe them the best we got.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like real estate agents, low barriers to entry, but the results can be completely different compared to who
Great,
you work with.
great
Um,
analogy.
exactly. So Gannon, in your travels overseas, have you learned about different things about training that you wouldn't have learned if you didn't go overseas?
Well, yeah, yes, yes. So I went overseas for the first time to play in the summer league in Austria. And then with my college team in France, my senior year, I've been to 53 countries, 6 continents. So I like every year I go over there now and get motivated, get rejuvenated with the technical and tactical and professional way they approach practice and their craft. And so it's there is barriers to entry over there. You have to get FIBA certified. And the higher level of coach of player you want to coach, the more certifications you got to get. Now, the training industry has infiltrated over there, and people have, can go their own route and be entrepreneurial and run their own business and train players at the highest level. However, I would say most, if not all, of high level players in Europe are competent. And so if this trainer doesn't know what he's doing, they might beat him up, take their money, and leave him to bleed on the court. Like these guys are, the European culture is very serious about education, development, their career. It's more of a respect thing. Where over here, in my experience, I've seen NBA players kind of put up with some rebounders as long as, like you said, they get a good workout. So there's a lot of there's a lot of guys out there that train NBA players. They're called NBA trainers. And most of them, right, a lot of them are just rebounding. And then either a James Harden might say, "Hey, coach, put me through some drills." Cool. They'll put them through a drill, and all right, here's the next drill. Or James Harden might say, "Hey, we're going to do this. I want you to do this. All right, next drill, coach. I want you to." No problem. That's not an NBA trainer. That's a guy doing what an NBA players tell him to do. I'm a glorified manager.
Yeah.
I'm a sparring partner. Hey, I fought Mike Tyson. Man. I was working out. Nah, you were taking Mike Tyson's punches, man. You weren't impacting him. So, and they use it to leverage. Yeah, I'm gonna go train in Wakefield High School, and yeah, man, I worked out Kevin Durant. You were rebounding for him, man. You were passing it to him. Like, what did you tell him? You know what I mean? And that's unfortunate because these guys network and never have net worth. Like I worked out Kevin Durant many times, LeBron many times. I Hey LeBron, tell me what greatness means. Hey Kevin Durant, how do you what do you see off this pick and roll? What do you like to do? You know what I mean? I'm question and answer, George Raveling. You want the right answers, ask the right questions. I'm not just taking a photo up with Kevin Durant. Yeah, I worked out Kevin Durant. Man, I worked him out. I learned from him. He learned from me. Just what Kevin Durant says. Like it's paying it forward, man, and being with greatness, you becoming great, and then you go share it. Now you do that. All right, you're an NBA coach,
Mhm.
player development coach, and there's some good ones out there
Yeah.
that impact, that grow themselves, and not just their IG reels and stories and followers and paid advertisements because they know people that know people. And unfortunately, our industry, as well as college athletics, has been saturated by the sports entrepreneurial, right, ambassador, spirit as well.
Well, again, in soccer, an international game, every country has its own different flavor of soccer. They play differently. Like in Brazil, the
Yeah.
defenders attack. In Holland, it's a team game. Everyone's different, and the game they touch the ball differently in different countries. Have you found in basketball the technical could be different? Like they shoot the ball a little different in some places, and you can learn from that, or technically is basketball about the same all over the world?
Yeah, I think the individual skills are almost the same. I mean, Europe doesn't have the individual finishing and sexy, dribble moves that we might have over there. Although I take that back, their finishing moves are quite nasty because of the footwork. But the ball handling, the dribbling, the individual one-on-one moves with the catch, the athleticism is a little different. Um, but the one thing that we steal from Europe are their two-man, three-man games, right? How they run pick and roll and how they'll screen out of it or space out of it, how they move the ball, their different formations of their players, so the tactical side in Europe has been very impactful to our college and NBA in the United States. And I think our development of creativity and athleticism and toughness, right, and talent has influenced Europe. But Europe's catching up with everything I just said. Thus, over almost 50% of NBA players, right, are foreign born. And we saw our best almost lose to France in the Olympics this year, with not only the men but the women too. I tell people all the time in LA, I think we finished second or third.
Yeah. Gannon,
So
do you think it's much different training females than male athletes, or is it all the same? It all
very
depends on the athlete.
well. I always look at females as athletes. Success is colorblind and gender free. However, emotionally and mentally, they're different. A little more emotional drama sometimes with elite women. Um, all women are smarter. more engaged, more aware, more present. They take the workouts. Um, I mean, even if the female is bored or don't want to be there, they'll still sit there and respect you and try to do do well for you. Try to be obedient. Where if a guy is bored or don't want to be there, man, he'll show it. He'll show it. But there is a huge difference between, elite professional WNBA, college elite women, and then grassroots or non-elite women.
Yeah.
With the elite WNBA, there's a little more drama, more distractions, more pressures on their mind is a little elsewhere because they have these huge brands and social media. More so, I think with the WNBA likes to put out, distractional stories about their personal life and things like that.
They love that. That's why Caitlin wasn't even playing this year, and the TV ratings were still great. Everyone just got into the
See what I'm
drama.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they love. Well, last question, Gannon. This has been great. I'm glad you could start early because I got more of your time. Tell us a little bit about your public speaking business. Doesn't surprise me that you're into that. You're a very inspirational guy. But tell us how you got into that and the kind of engagements that you look for.
Um, I think through the growth of social media, people that hire keynote speakers and executive coaches got to see my content. And I've always done it. I've always understood as a coach, you're an inspirator, you're an impactful teacher. And a lot of the lessons that I teach, my curriculum can relate to people outside of sports that are entrepreneurs, that are teachers, educators, that work in the real world. And so over the years, I just have, I've done school assemblies. I've done hundreds of thousands of school assemblies in my career. And then from that, since COVID, I've probably done about 30, 40 keynotes, a few a year. And I talk about the five Hall of Fame, World Championship behaviors that any company, any leader can apply to their life. And I use basketball as an illustration, so I do some engaging exercises there. I have a little bit of charisma, my story. I have a little sense of humor. I can hold an audience. I don't get bothered by my transparency or aloofness at times, and I think I'm a different type of person that they're usually in front of the speakers, and obviously they love the Kobe and LeBron stories and Mari Stoudemire stories, and then I bring it all back together about basically being your own goat.
Yeah.
Be your own goat, be the best version of yourself every single day, and that will push profit if you can have a net worth as a person. And so I enjoy it. There's prep work, obviously. You still got to travel. I've done some on Zoom, which I love. And it's funny, Jay, after my keynotes, man, my knees don't hurt as bad as it does after a practice. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's soft on my body. It's something that I can maybe transition into if I want to um later on in my career.
Yeah. Well, Gannon, look, man, this has been great. I knew you from afar, or actually
Yeah.
on the same court from a very young age, and you're very inspirational. One of the most interesting guys I've ever interviewed, and I've interviewed, some big names, man. So I'm just so glad you decided to do this. If
Thank you.
you ever in DC and have a chance, love to meet you for a coffee if you ever have a chance. But
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
man, this was great. I really appreciate it for the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you, man. And again, as a former 757 alumni, thank you for doing this on behalf of all of us. There's many, many wonderful stories out there, and we just thank you for sharing it. Thank you for including me. And my brother has a story too. So if you want to talk with him, I know he'd be glad to talk. He played with Ronald Curry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love to.
Yeah,
I for some
yeah.
reason I just
So
didn't realize that you guys were brothers.
yeah,
He played for
yeah.
Richmond. He was a good player, really good player.
Good play.
I never
Yeah,
put two and two together. Yeah,
Yeah, he had a better CAA career than me. He went to the dance, played for John Beeline,
that's right. He did. Yeah,
and he got a ring. The team he beat was my UNC Wilmington
yeah,
Seahawks with Jerry Wainwright. But yeah, thank you for spreading the light on our peninsula.
yeah. Well, it's been great, man. Let's keep in touch, and just thanks again for doing this.
You're welcome.
Okay,
See you,
Gan, have a good
sir.
day, man. Happy
All
New
right.
Year.